Alright, this is just a quick how-to on converting a P90 head, or P90A head, from the big fat hydraulic lifters to the more common, easily adjustable solid lifters. So what you need is what's called a TIME-SERT. It's a solid wall threaded insert, much like a helicoil, only it's a solid piece. The inside diameter of the insert matches the solid lifter, and the outside diameter matches the finicky hydraulic lifters. I used TIME-SERT part number 8155. It is 27 millimeters long. Most people use part number 8153, which is 18 millimeters long. It's a little bit more expensive of an insert, but it threads all the way to the bottom. I also found that thread depth on each of the holes varies, maybe by, I don't know, a whole millimeter or 3/4 of a millimeter. So I took all my inserts, and starting with the end thread, I just shaved them down until they were about 26 millimeters long. I guess that's one of the other reasons to go with the shorter inserts, is you won't have to shave them down, but you also won't have as many threads. So yeah, I just shaved 1 millimeter off the end of the insert just to ensure that they all sit below the surface, rather than having any of them mistakenly pop up unexpectedly from variation in threads. Because you see, I shaved them all down to 26, and this one came out flush, and this one came out flush. So it's better to shave first than to shave after, because you want that wider rolled lip on the top to stay there. And then when you use the insertion tool, it locks together. So the insertion tool basically goes onto the insert. And you see how it stopped right there. The last threads aren't fully formed, and when you run the insertion tool through the last threads after it's installed, it cold works the last threads into the part and permanently locks them there. So before you install using the insertion tool, you need to put 1 drop of oil on the last threads of the insertion tool, and that keeps it from binding. If you don't oil it, it's going to feel like you're done before you're done. So I'll thread that back on there. Now the insert itself can be installed dry, or it can be installed with Loctite. I prefer to install with Loctite because it kind of lubricates the threads while you're installing it, makes it install smoother without actually leaving any oil or grease in there that'll
thread it in there.
Now you'll notice once it hits bottom, it'll get firm. You probably get another half turn out of it, and you'll see it'll be firm, and the insert down there will be turning with it. And then you put a wrench on it, and you turn the insertion tool through the insert. And we're almost there. Hold my head still a little bit better. And you'll feel it after you fully form the threads. It'll get easier again. So after it gets easier again, you know that you've fully installed it. I've also pre-measured the height of the insertion tool without the insert in there, so I know how high it's supposed to be when it's done. But like I said, it gets easier once the threads on the bottom are fully formed. And then you just back it out. We'll do one more. And that's all there is to it. You can see it used to fit a hydraulic, like the one that's not done yet next to it. Yes, I know, my hydraulic's gutted. I took it apart. And now it fits a solid. One more thing to note, the insertion tool is fairly expensive, which is probably why most people go with the shorter insert, because they don't want to buy the whole kit. I actually used it's a Flywheel Puller bolt for a motorcycle. I'll get the part number and I'll put it in the comments section. Basically, you grind the end flat, so it's maybe a thread taller than the last thread. And then after that you grind a few flats on the first thread so that it can start cold working the threads with little resistance. And I have one of my other kits, and that's exactly what the insertion tool looks like. It's just the last sections of threads are hexagon shaped to facilitate the cold working. So I just copied that on a $5 Flywheel Puller bolt rather than buying the expensive insertion tool. And that's all there is to it.